Tonight, a Saskatoon home is gutted by a suspicious fire. A Moose Jaw program receives national recognition. And in sports, a 7th game showdown between the Sixers and the Bucks.
From CTV, this is CFQC Television News with Jennifer Jellicoe, and with sports, Craig Wilson.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A suspicious fire on the city's west side has destroyed a home. The blaze broke out around 7:30 this evening. Fire officials say the home on Avenue L South is completely gutted. It took about 20 minutes to get the blaze under control. The structure and its contents are destroyed. No one was home when the fire broke out. Officials say damage is estimated at $30,000. They are treating the blaze as suspicious. Saskatchewan's new Green Alliance Party says alternative energy is on the minds of the people. That's why it's urging the provincial government to take a walk on the green side. The party says now is the time to bring in policies to encourage the growth of new energy sources. Douglas reports.
The new Green Alliance wants to hit the streets with the message that with soaring natural gas prices, it's a good time for Saskatchewan's government to begin promoting green energy and conservation.
We would gradually move towards an alternative economy, but that would not happen overnight. It would be a gradual, slow, evolutionary process.
For example, this solar oven can cook a meal in winter just with heat from the sun, and this workshop is heated and powered with solar energy in winter. Sinclair says so-called soft energy can take on a much bigger role, but what it needs is encouragement in the form of tax breaks or programs like the one in Alberta that allows people to pay a little more for wind-generated power.
And there are a number of consumers in that province who are willing to pay a few cents more per kilowatt hour to purchase energy that is basically clean. We could undertake a program like that in Saskatchewan. It would not cost the government any money.
The oil and gas industry is big in Saskatchewan. It pumps over $1 billion into the economy and provides some 16,000 jobs. Saskatchewan is the country's second largest producer of oil and gas. Sinclair says it'll take time before an alternative energy industry could cast a shadow on fossil fuels, but he points out oil and gas will eventually run out, while sunshine and wind will not. Douglas, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Many teenagers are busy socializing at this stage in their lives, but one 14-year-old boy is spending his time differently. He's cycling and walking across Canada to raise awareness about children's rights in divorce. Clayton GIles and his Journey for Kids entourage arrived in Regina late this afternoon. The Calgary teenager is trying to raise awareness about equal access to both parents after marital breakdowns. The teen plans to take his message across Canada and to Washington, D.C.
Because there's kids in the States that are in the same position as the kids in Canada. You know, it's not just a one-country thing, it's an international thing. Unfortunately, we don't have the capability to go all over the world, so that's why I'm just going to the States and Canada.
Advances in hearing devices are improving quality of life for many people who are hearing impaired. Some of that technology was the focus of the Canadian Hard of Hearing Association's national conference held in Regina this weekend. Laura Tupper has more.
Research and development for people with hearing disabilities has made leaps and bounds just in the last 4 or 5 years. Hearing problems affect about 12% of the population, and specialists say the newest technology vastly improves their quality of life.
It's terribly exciting because
Toronto audiologist Errol Davis says the most notable advance has been the development of digital hearing aids. They have an internal computer chip that automatically adjusts to the volume and frequency of different sounds.
they have allowed us to program hearing aids specifically for people's individual problems. In the past, when we had analog hearing aids, it was a little more difficult.
Even though digital aids can be geared to specific hearing problems, they're still not for everyone.
It didn't work for me. I tried it.
Newfoundland delegate Mel Dirtle says he tried out a digital hearing aid for a month, but chose to go back to his analog model.
I found that although the voices were clearer, they were much too low, and I had great difficulty. I had to strain to hear everything.
Cochlear implants have also changed the lives of many people born deaf, as well as those who develop hearing problems later. A cochlear implant is an electronic device which stimulates the hearing nerves with electrical current. Beverly Biederman received a cochlear implant 8 years ago and has written a book about her experience.
Oh, it's changed my life tremendously. I can now hear birds, I can hear voices, I can hear children laughing, and I can hear my husband talking to me on the phone.
Cochlear implants are also not suitable for everyone, but research is continuing in efforts to improve the success rate. Specialists say such developments are exciting in a field that once had very limited resources. Laura Tupper, CTV News, Regina.
From technological advancement for the hearing impaired to revolutionary treatment for people with diabetes. A man from Yorkton says the 2 islet cell transplants he received last November have transformed his life. As Doug Lett tells us, Earl Fraser is one of 15 people in the world to successfully undergo the operation.
It's a weekend meeting of the Canadian Diabetes Association in Saskatoon. Various speakers give overviews on the state of research. Earl Fraser is one of only 15 people in the world who've had an islet cell transplant, and it's changed his life.
Next week will be my 3rd month of being off insulin, and I feel great. I feel wonderful. The world looks like a bowl of roses now versus a very dark halo that was there a year ago.
Fraser and his wife run the Boston Pizza in Yorkton, but his diabetes was getting worse until the operations at the University of Alberta. The operation takes islet cells, which produce insulin, from the pancreas of a donor organ. Those cells are injected into the liver of a diabetic and start producing insulin. Fraser had 2 transplants, the first in November, the second in March. While he has to take anti-rejection drugs, and there are side effects, he says the side effects are a lot easier to live with than the worsening diabetes he had a year ago.
Life was hell. I didn't know some days whether I'd be waking up in the emergency ward or whether I'd be waking up in bed. And it got to the point where, every day was a challenge. It was a challenge to live each day to the fullest.
Most diabetics have a daily regimen of monitoring and insulin injections. Fraser is now mostly free of that, and he plans to return to his business. It's a story that gives hope to those battling diabetes. Doug Lett, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A unique educational program based out of Moose Jaw is receiving national recognition. Classroom on Ice was launched in January by the Moose Jaw branch of the Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation. The program brings children out to Buffalo Pound Lake to observe and study aquatic life. They perform a number of water quality tests and learn about healthy lake ecosystems. The Canadian Wildlife Federation presented the Moose Jaw branch with the National Doug Clark Memorial Award for the youth program. Still to come, keeping youngsters interested in agriculture, and new research that may help your putting skills. It's time to protect children on our farms. That's the focus of a new day camp in Saskatchewan. About 75 young people gathered in Moosomin yesterday to learn about farm and rural safety. Natasha Drobko reports.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
It looks like a deadly scene, but it's not. It's a mock accident to teach children the consequences of unsafe driving.
I just would like to see that more rural communities throughout Saskatchewan and the prairies start activities like this geared towards the youth. So that would be something that I personally would like to see.
At this day camp, children learn how to recognize hazards and prevent injuries. The program includes first-person accounts of rural hazards. It also features interactive demonstrations and displays. These training stations teach safety around things like farm machinery and animals, and how to prevent environmental problems like fire.
It's been great. The kids are great. I have fun doing it. Guys that help me out have fun doing it. So
until they see it, it's an excellent learning experience for them.
Statistics show that out of 56 accidents that occur on farms, 36 are tractor-related. Organizers want to encourage parents to get involved in educating their children regarding safety. They hope that this day camp is the first of many more to come.
Put one of these on, demonstrate how serious things can really be in a hurry. And the thing is a lot of this happens when you're in a hurry.
And the kids are enthusiastic about all there is to learn about safety.
Even though I don't live on a farm, I can come and learn about stuff, so when I go to my friend's house, that I know more and I can be more safer around the equipment. Like a whole bunch of kids learn how to be safe around farm equipment and stuff.
Natasha Dropko, CTV News, Moosomin.
Family farms are still out there, but many of the younger generation are choosing to stay out of the agriculture sector. As James Young tells us, local 4-H clubs are trying to keep the young people interested in the family business.
A little hairspray here, a brush there, and 14-year-old Jay Forrest is ready to show off his pride and joy. The 4-H Regional Finished Beef Show and Sale is on in Prince Albert. Around 200 young ranchers from 7 area clubs are in the city for the event. Judges will tell Forrest if his heifer is marketable while teaching him about the ranching industry.
I'll be able to pick my animals that I would like in my farm, and I would have a fairly well-placed herd.
This show and sale isn't just about young ranchers and cattle. It's also about preserving a rural lifestyle during a tough time in the agriculture business.
You are getting larger farms run by companies and that type of thing, larger feedlots, and you're getting away from the family farm. And I think 4-H kind of brings everything back in line with, I guess, a more personal approach to the whole industry.
That personal approach includes raising money for charity. Members pitched in $10 apiece to buy this steer last year. They raised it and will auction it off Monday night. It's the first fundraiser of its kind in Saskatchewan, and 4-H hopes to corral $1,000 to $2,000 for the Canadian Liver Foundation. The club will then auction off the other cattle destined for breeding or the butcher, and it will be an emotional time for many who raised them.
You work with the animal throughout the whole year, and you put all your time into this animal, and at the end of the year it ties it all up, and you have to say goodbye, and it's over with. So it's hard to deal with for me.
It's another step towards learning the ranching ropes, and something Mindy Mitchell and Jay Forrest will need when they venture